A lot of times we do attribute or the thought process that overdose is only for prescription medications or control medications. We forget that they can be overdosed to even over-the-counter medications. The most common overdose for over-the-counter medications are simple medications like cough medicine, which have Sudafed, which can have dextromethorphan, the regular cough medicine that we see in Robitussin or Mucinex. We can overdose on Tylenol and ibuprofen or naproxen. There are also times when we overdose on nasal sprays. Why does this become important? Because they do have side effects. Certain medications can cause hallucinations, they can give you a high, they can cause confusion, they can cause increased risk of falls, especially in the elderly. They can cause liver damage, kidney damage. So it becomes very important to understand how much of medication are we taking? Are we overusing it? Are we getting dependent on it? A simple example is pain control. We think that taking ibuprofen over the counter or Tylenol is okay, but there is a limit of how many you can take, and sometimes we know that you sometimes can switch between both in a day. We always have to keep in mind that these all have impact on our kidney and liver. Then we sometimes have allergies. All of us have allergies. We try to take Claritin, we try to take Benadryl. One is not working, so we say, let's pop in another pill. But at the end of the day, it all adds up. And that increases your risk of confusion. It increases your fatigue, your sleepiness, and you become, less functional. In the elderly, we always have to remember that, it may seem simple taking a Benadryl or a Claritin, but at night they may be confused and have increased risk of falls, which then leads to multiple other problems. So we always have to keep in mind to discuss all the over-the-counter meds that we are taking with our primary care physicians and our specialists to make sure that we are within the safe limit and that it is not interacting with our prescription medications. Nowadays, we also tend to take more naturopathic medicine. The big move to try something else other than prescription medication and allopathic because of the side effects listed. While East meets West is great, but there also needs to be an understanding that naturopathic medicine is not without side effects. We can overdo on something very natural, such as even turmeric, but when we overdo it, we can have bleeding risk. There are many things that we need to look into, and I would urge that we first do our research. We talk to our physicians about it. Make sure that there is no interaction. Typically, there are no studies where they do interactions between natural medication and your prescription medicines, but having an open discussion with your doctor, making sure that you're all on the same page, does help. What do you do if you think that you have overdosed? How would you know that you have overdosed? When you start having side effects, or when you know that you're taking 7 or 8 Tylenols in a day as opposed to 4 Tylenols in a day. You talk to the primary care doctor about it. Call your doctor's office and say, hey, can I come in and have a discussion? This is what's going on. These are my side effects. Now, the side effects are really, significant, where some meds can cause a drop in your blood pressure. Some medications can cause extremely high blood pressure. Then definitely go to the closest urgent care and ER. But please do make sure that you do read the safety, adverse effects on the inserts, and be aware to constantly monitor yourself for side effects. What do you do when you miss doses of prescription medications? Please do not take double the dose, because that's a very common mistake that we say, oh, I missed the medicine, especially when these meds are taken 2 to 3 times a day. So let me just take it together. But there are effects, especially like blood pressure medications or blood sugar medications, that can cause a rapid decrease in your blood pressure, or glucose that can cause, loss of consciousness, that can end you up in the ER. So if you do miss a dose, my best advice is that you monitor your vitals, make sure your blood pressures are fine, make sure if you're feeling well, then just stay on until your next dose. If this becomes a recurrent problem, definitely talk to your doctor too. One of the things that I always see when you're missing some meds is because of your work schedule. A lot of times we see that, where it is not possible because whether you are at work, you have things to do, you're busy, you are taking care of somebody, that's when you miss doses. Definitely talk to your primary care doctor about how you can make your schedule easier. Sometimes we can adjust meds to timings that will work for you better, or we may combine the doses together. So these are discussions that you can definitely have. Don't always say yes to what you're given, but definitely talk to your doctors to see what works best for you. And what do you do if you sometimes overdo on the medications, double up on the dose, and you're having symptoms? Please definitely go to the nearest urgent care and ER. You can call 911, or during the day, definitely reach out to your primary care doctor or your specialist, whoever's prescribed the medication. Make sure you get an answer that immediately, or definitely call ER and go to the ER.